honestly, like I just hear good things about it. They call it the cheat box, and I'm just like, you know what? I got to find out. Is it really a cheating tool? I did pick it up pretty quickly, coming from League of Legends, Overwatch. So the movement with on a keyboard, ASD, was pretty nice. It was weird to have a jump button, but I did. You know what? No, now that I'm talking about the jump button now, it was actually Street Fighter V when I first started playing Street Fighter V. I was jumping too much, and I was like, hey, if I put a jump on a separate button, I could tell myself not to jump as often.
That's fair, yeah. Because you jumped a lot in 4 and Marvel and everything. I remember that.
I was take the disguise. I should have been an Air Dasher player, but
yeah.
But that was a way for me to try to calm down. Funny enough, it wasn't the fix. But
welcome to the Absolute Guard podcast.
Yes, welcome. This is episode 48. My name is Benny, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Jon, who just recently came back from making top 8 at a major. How's it going, Jon?
It's going. I was exhausted when I got home last night. I flew back home and got in at like 11 p.m. Phoenix time, which was like 2 a.m. New York time. So, and then today I worked, but then I also got a massage. We have a friend of ours that came over and she does massages. So this is a shout out to Verity Massage, Verity_massage on Instagram. Shout outs to Melly for stopping by. She's actually working on Jess right now in the living room. And so I'm hyper relaxed. I had like CBD lotion and stuff, so you might see me be a little bit more subdued on our show than usual today.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we'll probably get a chance to talk about your Defend the North experience. But today we are starting with a guest today who's going to be on our show for the first time, known as TheXButton.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's up, man?
What is up, man?
Doing great. Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Yeah. So
I actually wanted to open real quick with Maynard here because when we started this show 48 episodes ago, we didn't really have any listeners, and until Maynard reached out to me and was like, hey, I liked your show, and I think you're like one of the first listeners and one of the most like dedicated listeners to our show, and it's a real pleasure to have you on. So thanks very much. It's sorry it took 48 episodes.
Hey, it's fine. It was my favorite podcast, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, especially while driving to work. So it's great listening, and I'm excited to finally be here. So this is great,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, nice. So when I think of Maynard, like the one thing I always think about is the fact that of how we first met. So that was when we were both working at GoDaddy. So I want to say it was around. I want to say it's 2014 because that's when like the new building in Tempe opened, like the brand new building because they didn't want to be leased anywhere anymore. And it was this building that had like a slide and like these like go-karts and crazy stuff inside it. And I was just upstairs in like the common like break area or whatever, wearing an Evo shirt of all things. And then he comes up and introduces himself to me.
Yeah, it's great because seeing an Evo shirt out in the wild, you have to go say hi. Like, it doesn't matter what game they play, especially like Street Fighter, Guilty Gear. At the time, like Smash, I think was happening. I was like, oh, he might be a Smash player, but I'll say what's up. Little did I know, it was Street Fighter, and he's saying names of people I know in the scene, and I was just, this is exciting. It's small world. I love it.
Yeah, because I think I mentioned Scott, and then I think I mentioned you too, Jon. Like, and then he was just like, "Oh yeah, I know them too," and I was just like, "Oh okay." So that's where we initially met, and then from there, it's like, we'd have chats at work or here or there, or see each other at events. So man, that's almost 10 years ago.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't realize how long.
My
Yeah.
earliest memories of Maynard are from it was like 2010 or 11, I believe, when Street Fighter 4 was popping. I think it was Super had just come out when I first met Maynard, and as part of like the way to like level up our scene for Super, Scott and Dorian were running these Bootcamp events, and so like there was a lot of it was like a regular like weekly thing that we would do, and we would constantly play and trade strategies and stuff. And I had just started playing fighting games around that time too, so like we were all kind of the same level, and we were both playing Ibuki, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So that was a good time.
No, those were great. I always missed out on the boot camps, and I always wanted to make those. I think it was at a time where I think at the time I was working at Fry's, and actually that's where I met Saber. And Saber introduced me to everyone in that area. So because of my work schedule, I could never make boot camp, but I always made Friday casuals, and that's where I met you guys. Met you.
Holy shit! Okay, so you know everybody through work then, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the other side of it, and we'll get to this probably later in the show with your bio, but like you and I used to work together too. Like there was one day where like I joined a small company called Retailer Web Services. Great company, great people. And then gradually a lot of people from the FGC started working there. And I think one day I just saw you in the break room.
Yeah. I was actually getting walked through. I remember walking through each office and like, yeah, there's a guy named Jon. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then I see the name badge on the door. I'm like, no way. No.
Yeah.
Really?
And that like that it wasn't even like a coincidence per se. It was that like I had referred T-Dot, I think, who had referred Neff, who or somebody one of those folks had referred you, so it was like twice removed or something. And I was just like, wait, Maynard's here? He like showed up at my office. I was like, wait, what is happening right now?
Yeah, that's funny. Like, I mean, you think about it, it's like that's the community aspect of fighting games, right? It's like we're, gamers in general are supposed to be socially awkward and nerds and whatever, right? We don't talk to other people, and yet we, through that common bond, like, you end up referring people to jobs. Hey, man, I'm looking for a job. You got, what do you do, right? And people end up, a lot of people end up working together because other than that place, like, what was that other place, like Donnelly?
Where
a lot of people have worked.
Another big one, yeah.
A lot of people have worked there.
A lot of folks worked at 2Wire as well.
I actually worked at 2Wire because.
Oh, really?
Oh man. So okay, that's the title of the episode now. It's the X button doing work.
Yeah. So speaking of the X button, when we have somebody on the show for the first time, we'd like to know about the origin of their gamer tag. So where did that come from?
At the time, Gmail literally just opened up. At the time, I was going by Rin. I don't remember where I got it from. I just made up a name as a child. I was like, you know what? It's time for something new. Gmail just opened. At the time, I was playing like PS2 games online. We had a little online community, and someone told me, he's like, hey, I got spacebar@gmail.com, and that blew my mind. I was like, yo, you can do something like that. It's a new service. Everything's open. I'm scrambling around my room. Even though I had like PS2 and Xbox, like I favored the Xbox because of Halo, and I actually started off as TheXButton. Because it was a new email service, I customered it really hard, really fast, and I forgot my password. Probably 1 week in. No way to recover it. I don't think Google thought about recovery. Look for something else. You know what? It's got to be the X button. It's on everything. It's on PlayStation. It's on Xbox.
Yeah.
And so I kind of evolved it into that, and I kind of just stuck with that for the longest time. It just, I don't know. It's so catchy to me, and that's kind of just where I started it with it back in, was that 2005, 2004? I forgot when Gmail fully opened, and it was like invite only at the time.
I remember that. Yeah, and then you would like send invites to yourself, so that way you can make more Gmail accounts to take more names up.
Yep.
Right?
I actually refunded my friend 2 accounts because I made 2 different ones.
So we have spacebar@gmail.com to thank for the birth of the A button, and then the X button evolved.
Yeah, A button's dead. I don't know where the A button is anymore.
Very cool.
Oh, man, that's great.
So we kind of alluded to it briefly on the show in your intro here, but another question we usually ask is, when did you get started playing fighting games?
I mean, I've casually played it back on Genesis, Super Nintendo. Back when Street Fighter 2 first came out, it was the weird. It's not Championship Edition. It was something else on the Genesis. It was some weird one-off. I bought a 6-button controller because he always had to hit start to switch between punch and kicks. So that was some good times. I didn't think I started taking it like seriously until DOA 2 Ultimate on Xbox because it had online.
Oh,
And that was my first time really getting into it. Granted, it's Dead or Alive. It's a smaller community, but I remember placing like top 200 or something in their rankings at one point. I was really excited about that. Played CVS2 EO online as well. But I'd say the time where I really like wanted to like buckle down and learn was Street Fighter 4. That would be like being an 09er.
Yep, that's
at the
us.
at the time in California, I finally got to go to college. I'm able to drive myself out to arcades and actually do events. I remember going to Arcade Infinity for a few tournaments, and I met Gutex, and that's where he started taking me to or showing me events in the area, and that's where I kind of just exploded from there.
oh wow.
Then I moved to Arizona, and once again met with Saber. Did not know there was a community in Arizona. I was like, man, I'm gonna miss the fighting game community. Thank goodness. Oh, Saber lives here? No
Yeah.
way. Blew my mind, and I mean, it just taken off from there.
Nice. I don't know if it's too personal, but like, what prompted the move to Arizona from where you were at?
At the time, California was too expensive, and just
At
no
the time.
way.
Sounds-
Oh, at
Sa-
the time.
You know what?
Because
At the
totally...
You know what?
time.
Granted,
wow,
yes.
okay.
Granted, yeah. I mean, it was more affordable at the time for here. It's now expensive here, but I do actually have family here in Arizona, so it was like a safe move. It was try a
Yeah.
different market out, try a different group of people, and I moved with my aunt at the time, and just I found a job after like a week, so
Nice.
and that's where once again Fry's. That's where I met up and kind of climbed from there, going to the 2-wire. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a big decision because it's like, me moving out of Alaska, that was a big decision in my life too. And like a lot of people, like, they get stuck where they're at, right? Whether like people are just adverse to change. And it's like, that was one thing that I felt like, even to this day, I think that was the best thing I ever did for myself was get out of there. And, it's a huge thing, especially like when you have a job. I mean, even if you don't have a job, it's like you're uprooting yourself and you're settling down somewhere else, brand new. Like you said, new set of friends. You didn't know if there was an FGC here, so you're just like, well, what am I gonna do in my spare time? You gotta start over brand new. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, like to see people make that change because like I see a lot of people, nothing against people that love to stay where they're at or are happy where they grew up, but it's just like I feel like one big move is like something that you should probably do for yourself just to kind of get yourself out there. Whether you move back like a year later, 2 years later, 10 years later, who knows? But get yourself out there and go somewhere else.
and we've lost John.
Yep,
Camera's on
my
screen.
cat jumped in front of.
Full.
She came in and made a big meow, and I don't think that got picked up, but she is here.
So in terms of like the fighting game, so competitively, what was like the first time that you started playing competitively? So was that with Street Fighter 4?
Yeah, I want to say Street Fighter 4, just because
Okay.
that's where I went to Arcade Infinity, tried the tournaments, went 1 and 2, 0 and 2, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was something that I was like, I think, I'm learning. I think I finally understand something. It felt good. Coming out here and learning about like, hey, there's Bootcamp. There's ways to, better ways to learn rather than just playing hundreds of games and not and trying to win. So being able to hang out with Jon, Saber, SNK, those are like the 3 big influences at my start to just help me with understanding and growing. I did take a break after a while. After Marvel vs. Capcom 3,
Okay.
I didn't even reach Ultimate, but I got addicted to another game, League of Legends. I'm sure you may have heard of it. But competitively, that's the game that I played for 5 years after Marvel 3. I mean, the cool new thing about it was I learned a lot about competitive play and how to learn how to analyze things. And one cool thing about that was me and my team made top 32 in North America during their preseason.
Nice.
And this was when they were making it as a franchise. So that was pretty cool. Um, After 5 years of that, I think I got into DOA 2017. Shout outs
Okay.
to Dragon Ninja. He was holding a tournament, and I was like, I used to play this game, DOA 2U. I loved it. Then I learned a lot of respect, and I got my butt whooped.
Yeah.
Found out that I really don't know the game like other people do. I thought I knew stuff, and yeah, I learned a lot. And he helped me learn from there. Started growing with him. Um, Jeremy or Slarix, my roommate, another Jeremy, I think Kidney, and yeah, started playing DOA, and unfortunately DOA is not supported anymore. It's still a fun game. I still enjoy it, but I was looking for a new fighting game, and Street Fighter 6, it's just love at first sight. It it's a really good game. Ever since the beta was released, I didn't make the first one, made the second one, and oh my gosh, hook, line, and sinker. I'm in it.
And that's kind of been the genesis of a lot of your involvement in the fighting game community of late, right? Where you've been spoiler alert, he's part of the Spiral series now. He's the admin of the Spiral series Discord. He it was a train wreck of a Discord before when I was running it, and then like trying to make it all look pretty and stuff, and I failed miserably at it. But the TheXButton came in and just like made categories, made roles, helped grow the server, and it exploded into one of the centerpieces of the Arizona Street Fighter community, I think. And I owe a lot of that to you, man. And thanks very much for all that help.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, and I want to see the community get bigger and grow. DOA was a great game. It's something I wanted to see it grow too, but with it not being supported anymore, I'm kind of glad to see like Street Fighter able to grow, and it's nice to see something just sprout and have wings right now. It's flying.
Yeah. And like we haven't played a game competitively with each other since Street Fighter 4, and so it's been kind of a bit of a reunion of sorts. And just it's like our friendship that has grown so much since this game came out, and leading up to the game too. Like it's been kind of a nice like way to reconcile with those early years in our 20s, and now we're in our 30s, and we're just like
20s.
Things are things are different now though, right? And it's just been it's been a good way to like wax nostalgic, but then also move forward and kind of see like how we've all grown since then, and apply the lessons that we've learned in the time that we spent apart. So
Yeah.
I do feel like we're oh, go ahead.
I don't know, I was gonna say in between that time too, like me and Maynard did puzzle stuff too for like Tetris.
Oh,
like there was a small window in there, and we were trying to do like a little puzzle community thing, and we had some Tetris 99 tournaments when that was pretty hot.
I did enter one of those. I think I got third in one of
You
those
got third.
tournaments. And
Yeah, you got third in one of those. Yeah.
I'm not a Tetris guy whatsoever, but I was
I need to
playing
find
that a lot.
I need to find that picture because I've seen that. Thinking about it now, that is a perfect emote.
I was hemming it up because I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I knew it was a battle royale, so it's like it. Maybe I'll get lucky, and I definitely got lucky.
Yeah, I know where that picture is. I'll find that picture for you if you're gonna make it into the emote.
So okay, so we talked a little bit about the Discord and stuff, but what else have you been up to with Street Fighter 6 and with the Arizona fighting game community since then, Maynard?
So I mean, this is actually in the Discord as well, so it's a little side piece there. But we are doing Bootcamp. Something that we did back in you guys did in Street Fighter 4. I actually did participate in the Bootcamp in Street Fighter 5, but I didn't play it that long. I'm sorry, it was a good game, but not for me. But I did like the idea and the system of the boot camp. For people that are not familiar with it, at the time back in the day, being in person, we would only have 10 stations, 10 TVs. So we would have 50 people, 5 people per station, and we played King of the Hill. One person stayed on the station, tallied up their wins, and after 45 minutes to an hour, we would tally that and see who's the best player from each station, who had the least amount of wins, and the top would try to promote and fight the weakest player of the next station up. That was a cool format. I liked it a lot. I wanted to try to bring it back in some way. And with Street Fighter 6 having the net code that it does, I think it's very prime for online. I'm working on a system. I'm still messing around getting the numbers right. But right now I have a way for you to jump in and jump out so we could work with people's work schedules. And us being much older now, it's so much harder to just have that time. Yeah. So now we have the online. If we have 5 people in a station, rather than it being King of the Hill, we did it as a round robin setup instead. That way you get an even amount of games that you fight with everybody. Everyone fights everybody. If you have a bad matchup, that person that is constantly winning isn't your bad matchup. So you can't use that as an excuse to fall into a possible demotion. So I thought that was a really cool idea, a really cool system. And now with it being online, we could do more promotion matches and more demotion chances. So instead of having 1 per hour, we have like 2 to 3, depending on how many people have come. So
nice. Yeah, so I haven't been able to participate in that, but with the Street Fighter 6 lobby system the way that it is, do you have like particular station like set up in one lobby? Like everybody just stays in the one lobby together?
Yeah, so right now, one lobby has 4 games, up to 4 games. So with our current setup, we're getting like around 5 people per lobby. So in that 5, there's 2 games going on, 1 person just kind of standing by. That 1 person could either spectate, go into training, whatever they want. They're just on standby.
Gotcha.
But so if we do get more people, we could expand on that if we really wanted to, with there being 4 stations available. But yeah, with that in mind, we did a way where we had 4 promotion matches going. We brought everybody all into one server. So when your promotion match was finished, you could just spectate and start watching the next one and just see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, and that kind of simulates that idea of the old school boot camps. We would just all be in a room together, and you'd just be able to walk between station to station to see how people were playing, you know. But again, like you said, there's limitations in the format because we are limited by time, and so we were doing whack stuff offline, like first to ones and King of the Hill. Like it rewarded a very specific kind of play, and it was still like good to level up, but like there were some big drawbacks to that style because so many people were trying to play at the same time, and online gives you limitless setups basically as a TO. And so there's so many new ways to take advantage of that format, and I think the TheXButton's Maynard's format has evolved so much past the boot camps of yore in Arizona, to the point where it's basically now a tradition where every time a new Street Fighter comes out, there's a boot camp and someone steps up to run it, like Maynard.
Yeah. And right now, I mean, with Evo coming around the corner, it's a great time to jump on. So anyone listening, if anyone's interested, hop on the server. We have a channel for it. We're going to do one tomorrow at 7 p.m. So definitely get some games in, get some repetition, and get your matches going.
Yeah. What days and times do the boot camps usually run?
So right now, for sure, we have it on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. And then we're also doing Saturdays at 5. But the thing I didn't see was that because it's a new game, we're getting a lot of events. So this upcoming Saturday, I am skipping because there is an event in Tucson that I would like to go to. Do you guys know the name? I don't remember the name off the top of my head.
Oh,
the Championship of Chivalrous Knights.
It's
not an acronym. It's not an acronym.
But there's that tournament in Tucson, and I think a tournament is more viable than boot camp at the time. I do think boot camp is important, but I do want people to show up. It doesn't make sense to run a boot camp alongside a tournament that's happening.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, as TOs, like, we try not to step on each other's toes. So
try.
Yeah, we try, but I mean, sometimes you can't help, depending on locations too. But no, I love seeing you running the boot camps because, like Jon said, like, there's always somebody that kind of picks up the mantle, like, whether they want to or not. But there's always somebody that wants to do something, and like the boot camps, I always saw as kind of a way to kind of introduce people, particularly newer people, to playing more. Because there's a lot of people playing the game that maybe aren't ready for tournaments. And it's just like, if you can introduce them to a different kind of format, and like this is, something that we do offline, or, in this case online, that's not just, ranked play. Like, this is a way for us to play and kind of I think the thing I love the most about the boot camps in particular was just the fact that it kind of naturally levels people out, right? So eventually, as things filter through and like the demotions and the promotions, you're going to get people that are similar skill levels, kind of sitting in the same stations, right?
Yep.
The cream's going to rise to the top. Those guys are going to start moving up. Other people are going to get demoted, and eventually you're going to get a lot of similarly skilled players in the same areas. And to me, like the idea is like, hopefully that you don't get stagnant and just be like, okay, this is where I'm at, right? This is the level I'm at. I would hope that would motivate you and say, you know what? I don't want to be at station 4 anymore. I want to get to station 3. What do I need to do to get there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every good fighting game origin story comes with a rival, and the rival isn't somebody that is so far beyond you that you'll never meet them and like not be able to stand a chance against them. It's usually somebody that's at your skill level, and you pace off each other and slowly level up together until you level up and take that next tier on. I think that the format also really helps with like we've been kind of harping on about the lifespan of locals in the online era. It's been a general theme for our podcast over several episodes, and I think that when Street Fighter 6 came out, it was a big question mark about like, are locals dead? Are locals going to die because the internet can take its place? And I think that the boot camp actually provides a social outlet. So Benny, you mentioned earlier about people not being ready for tournament. There's a wide list of reasons why people wouldn't be ready for tournament, whether that's competitive anxiety or nerves or skill or something like scheduling or being able to drive halfway across Arizona to get to the venue. I think that all those barriers get knocked down by this new format that Maynard has perfected with the boot camps here. Perfected might be a bit of a overstatement. I apologize if I'm putting too much pressure on you there.
I appreciate it though.
I'm very impressed with this new format, and I think that you're leveraging all of the benefits of online while still keeping the spirit of the offline local in place, and also not stepping on offline locals and being willing to cancel the Saturday boot camps, so that way people can actually go to the real in-person tournaments. So again, like if you're not up for a bracket and you're not up for the competition part, but you are up for the social part, the boot camps are a really, really strong alternative, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention, I have already seen some good outcome from the boot camp. One of our players, he's brand new. I think he goes by Tension. He came in. It's like he messaged me on Facebook. He's one of my friends from, I think, League of Legends or Overwatch. I don't remember. And he was just like, "Hey, I'm interested. I want to learn how to get better." And he started off as Iron, and he's throwing random stuff. And I'm like trying to show him things, but even me, like I'm trying to teach him things. It's really far, but he came into like 1 or 2 boot camps, and the people that were more closer to his level kind of helped him with understanding the game and breaking it down. And he went from Iron to Silver or Gold over a weekend.
Oh wow!
So.
Nice.
Yeah, he's climbed really quick, and I was like, "Hey, keep going. You're climbing quick."
And then like there's another new gentleman that's joined our scene. I met him at the launch tournament. His gamer tag is Hammy, and he's been at pretty much every one of your boot camps recently. And this last week at one of our offline locals in Glendale, he won the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So again, a relative unknown, new to the scene, joins boot camp and starts winning fucking locals. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
he did a great job. He was playing out of his mind. Shout outs to Hammy. He's really good. His DJ is at a real scary spot right now. And I think he actually just recently hit Masters. So he's nice. Yeah, he's climbing too.
Hell yeah.
No, that's great to see, because I mean that's the big motivator too, right? Like I actually was just recently re-listening to one of our past episodes with Abe, and one of Abe's thing was like, winning is fun. So that's a great motivator for people, is if they can see their progress and and their growth, and win and ultimately win. Like you in a local, that's big, right? Like, it's just like here I am, just like you said, relatively unknown, and then you go into a couple boot camps, couple training sessions, and level up, and then all of a sudden it's just like, all right, time to see where I'm at in the offline environment and to actually win. Like that's huge.
And I don't mean to embarrass him, but it was kind of cool. Like Hammy brought some of his, I think, friends or family. I don't know who, but he brought some friends out.
Okay.
And they were all nervous. I remember them watching the first 1 or 2 matches, and they were like, "I can't watch. I got to walk away. There's too much pressure." But then they saw him get to finals, and they just sitting there. They're just intently watching. And when he won, they all had to take pictures of him, and it was kind of cute. Like it was cool. So I don't know if it's his first or what, but to see that support from his group is really heartwarming. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, yeah, because I mean, that could be for some people that could break them too, right? Like, that your family's there, your friends are there to watch you, and like you could crumble easily and just be like, oh man, like I thought you were good at this game. Like, yeah, that guy's just so much better than me. Like, you know what I mean? Let's actually win. That's awesome, dude.
And what are we going to talk about on the show now if we can't doom about locals anymore? Because again, I feel like Maynard and Steve and John and Tim and everybody who runs an event here in Arizona, like the turnouts have been, and Contender RIP, like the turnouts for our tournaments have just exploded. We're like, I think we hit 60 at one of the locals, or we almost hit 6. It was like 57 or something. So like, we're back, baby. Street Fighter 6 is back. Like Street Fighter scene, Arizona Street Fighter is fucking back. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's just like when we were growing up, Maynard.
Yep. It's great to see it.
Yeah, I did want to talk about some stuff with locals. I had some questions for both of you guys in a little bit, but one thing I was interested in terms of like your growth as a player was you're a leverless controller player now. When did the transition to that start, and what was like kind of the reasoning for you to want to use that?
So I did start it in Dead or Alive. I want to say 5. I want to say 5 was when I picked it up. The reason being was honestly, like I just hear good things about it. They call it the cheat box, and I'm just like, you know what? I got to find out. Is it really a cheating tool? I did pick it up pretty quickly, coming from League of Legends, Overwatch. So the movement with on a keyboard, ASD, was pretty nice. It was weird to have a jump button, but I did. You know what? No, now that I'm talking about the jump button now, it was actually Street Fighter 5 when I first started playing Street Fighter 5. I was jumping too much, and I was like, hey, if I put a jump on a separate button, I could tell myself not to jump as often.
That's fair, yeah. Because you jumped a lot in 4 and Marvel and everything. I remember that.
I will take the disguise. I should have been an Air Dasher player, but
yeah.
But that was a way for me to try to calm down. Funny enough, it wasn't the fix. But honestly, the good news was it did help with quarter circles. One of the big issues I had in 4 was Ibuki's cancel, the super jump cancel, where you had to go from down to upper right, a tiger knee motion. And I actually vividly remember me grinding this out at Dorian's house and not hitting it. And John looking at the inputs like, you got to go faster. No, it's too fast. You got to go a little bit slower there. And I was just trying to I could not get the rhythm, couldn't figure it out. But
that motion, like I remember that era where we just spent so much time trying to do trick shots. That's what that was. We was less about like learning the mental game, but the fight between the two players, and more about like, can I do this cool ass super jump cancel into ultra combo that only our character could do? And like it was weird because back then in the 4 era, it was like almost like a meritocracy where it's like you either win or you do cool shit, and that was kind of it. Like otherwise you weren't worth the time of day. It was very cutthroat back then, and so I think both Maynard and I leaned on doing cool shit, even though we were really forgive me, but I considered us very low level players.
No, it's true. It's very true. But
Nice.
yeah, that was the main reason why I did pick up the hitbox, and it honestly still helped. like the quarter circle movement, half circles are still a little bit hard, but having double quarter circles, like I could grind that out really fast and kind of react to people doing that now compared to a stick where I'm churning butter kind of and accidentally chopping the up button. So now I'm in the air.
That's what we should call you now, is the up button, not the X
Oh,
button.
no.
The up button.
That's not us.
That's the natural evolution, right? Because you went to transition to the hitbox. So
well, let me ask you: is hitbox cheating now that you've been doing it for a while?
Ooh.
I want to say no. I want to say with how games are evolving, I think it is perfectly fine. It's nice. I think it's also nice that it also has a health benefit as well. People with bad wrists, shoulder issues. I think it's great. I think it's awesome to have accessibility for players. Granted, I do think we should not have left and right inputs at the same times left and right inputs for like Marvel 3. That was the first big problem. So that part would be cheating. But with games growing and making it, I think it's up to the game designer to make I don't know what to call it, like a law, or make the rule. So in this case,
for our listeners, what Maynard's referring to is SOCD, which is same order cardinal direction, or simultaneous or ordinal something. Either way, it's if you hit left and right at the same time, what happens? And in Marvel 3, left and right would just both trigger, and you'd be able to block anything. You could any cross up because you could just block both directions at the same time. How does the game parse those inputs? Do you make it so if you hit the left and then the right, does the right come out, or does it return to neutral? And there's always conversations about, what the right answer for that is for both left and right and down and up. Yeah.
So just to clarify that, it stands for simultaneous opposing cardinal directions.
Opposing. There's
so you're close. You're close.
I just know it's an acronym. I don't know what it means.
SOCD.
It's one of those things like you know what it is, but like you don't know what the actual words were. But no, we got it.
But honestly, though, that plays into a lot of the discourse around hitboxes. A lot of people don't understand like what that means and like what the ramifications are if I say let last input win, and I say if I hit left and right at the same time and then I hit right again, does my right come out? And some sticks early, or hitboxes early on, did do that, and the PlayStation, the vanilla PlayStation 4 controller, and I think the 5 controller still behaved that way if you hit left on the D-pad and right on the analog stick at the same time. So you could do stuff like easy sonic booms. You still can on pad, honestly.
Yeah, but I think now with like Street Fighter 6 making that rule, because I think it has a built-in where a left plus right will end up in neutral or no movement.
Yep.
I don't see any like negative or cheating ramifications to the hitbox.
Okay. Yeah. So the one other thing I wanted to ask you about, you recently posted in the Discord about doing 1st to 5 money matches for $20 at the casual sessions that happen at one of our local spots, the Gaming Zone, on Friday.
Yes.
I was wondering what the motivation was behind that for you.
So coming back once again to DOA 6, being that it was a new game and I was about to fly to Frosty Faustines back in 2020, I wanted to practice and get ready for the tournament. So I put that offer out there. DOA 6 being a smaller game, I was able to get 5 opponents on the spot, and that was nice enough to not have to worry about more people like, oh, I want to fight you instead, and having to pick and choose. So I think the big thing is that 1st to 5s are, in my opinion, scarier to 1st to 2s or 1st to 3s because people can adjust to you. One of my biggest weaknesses in fighting games is that I kind of have a small bag of tricks and I need to expand on that. So this kind of forces me out of my comfort zone of having to make new things, whether it be on the spot or prep for it ahead of time. So I think that's one big thing. Not to mention being that it's 5 games, like after game 3, if I'm winning, do I start going back to the old tricks? Maybe they forgot about the old tricks. So I kind of want to make that there. Obviously, having it be a money match, it's just going to be pressure. I want people to play their serious and full on. I
Yeah.
want them to play to win. It's not the learning time at that time. I want to see and test myself, and I think that's the best way to test it. Not to mention testing endurance as well. It worked out great in DOA 6. In Frosty Falcons in 2020, it was my first time ever making a top 8. I think we had 60 people. I don't remember how many people were in that tournament. It was a small double digit, or it was a double digit number, but I think it was 3 or 4 pools. So having that there, it definitely put some pressure on. And like I said, I hit top 8. I went to top 8 on loser side. And fortunately, I immediately got team killed by Dragon Ninja, who was also in top 8 loser side, and they put us up first together. But that was my biggest fighting game achievement. So with Evo coming around the corner, and not to mention the Tucson tournament on Saturday, let's put myself up to the test on Friday and see if I can make those corrections the next day for Tucson and the next week for Evo.
Did you end up filling up all the slots for your money matches on Friday?
I'm not taking signups yet. I want to make sure that they are there. So they're there in person. I'll sign them up there. I'm doing signups an hour and a half ahead of time. So I'll be there early, and I'll be taking signups up until the 5th person. So if, like I said, if there's more than 5 people, which with how banning this game is right now, there definitely will be. I'm just gonna spin it on a wheel or randomizer on the phone and draw a number. And if they're there on the spot, hey, let's do it. Let's fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
so
the main reason
you're down. Enter the TheXButton Kumite on Friday at the Gaming Zone in Tempe.
Yeah, beat me up. Take my money.
Tight. Yeah, that's tight.
No, I was actually thinking about doing that because 1, we have not played yet since the game came out.
Oh shit!
We haven't.
No, we have not. And 2, you play a character that I've got good amount of experience with playing Jeff, but obviously everybody kind of plays differently, has different kind of setups and things like that, right? So I was just like, I was thinking about I might have to get some sleep early and then head out there because I think that would be a good chance to actually get to play each other.
I'll make it 6 matches. I'll give you a 1 slot if you do make it.
Yeah,
Hell
so
yeah!
we'll see.
My god,
that would be tight.
So tight.
Yeah,
I can
never played.
Early, yeah, because I was thinking about that too. Because I was like, I haven't played Maynard at all yet, and I was like, this would be a golden opportunity to just like you said, test my own self, right? Because I played Dawson, and that's I don't want to say I don't think it's an easy matchup at all. I still think it's kind of even because I think he has ways to deal with a lot of stuff that she does, but that damage output is pretty ridiculous, and it's like all it really takes is like one or 2 chances, and all of a sudden I'm just like, well, let me get to the next round.
I think. Okay, so this is such a unique opportunity because we have both of you on the call and it's before the event, and then we're gonna have a show next week to talk about. We'll be able to recall that and then see what happens. So this is like a time capsule of a thing. And so to anybody watching live or to anybody on watching a VOD or anything, please post your predictions because I'm really interested. What do you guys think the set numbers will be if in a 1st to 5?
Well, that's really cool. We'll see if I get out there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed.
I'm more motivated to actually come out just because I was thinking about that earlier, and but I do work at night, so it's just like it really depends on how I get sleep, and then just to make things clear, like TheXButton plays Marisa and I play Dawson, so it'd be an interesting set, I think.
If not on Friday, we'll run it online at a different time. Clearly, we can all be awake and online at the same time. We're on this podcast right now, so I want to see it happen. We'll put it on the Absolute Guard stream. I don't care. I want to see it happen. It's gonna be tight.
All right. I don't know. We'll see. I think I could probably make it happen. And maybe not offline, but definitely I'll hold off from playing you. So unless we get matched up in rank somehow, we'll just hold off on playing.
No, I'm rage quitting. I'm multi-foreign if I see you.
They're like, oh man, I won the first game. He left. Like, we're on the set.
Very cool.
Oh man. So we've been talking a lot about the locals and stuff, right? Like especially the offline stuff. So one thing I wanted to ask you guys about, because I haven't been to TGZ to play there for their tournament, but they recently had a tournament, like Jon said, and they had about 60 people there, and they were running PS5 setups. And then the other local that you guys mentioned that's been happening at Cyberzone in Glendale, they run PC setups. I'm running a tournament in a couple weeks that's going to be on PC setups at a different place. We're going to talk about that probably on our next episode. But how has your guys' experience been between the PC setups and PS5s? We'll let Maynard go first.
I think PC is definitely easier. Both like connectivity with how uh, PlayStation's handling these controllers. That's its own issue, probably a different topic. But PC is real nice. Um, I don't feel any issues whatsoever on the PC. With the PlayStation, I do feel a little slugginess. It feels like maybe you're like not you're like at the beach and you're about to step into the water. You're not in the water yet, so it kind of has that kind of slow feeling in a sense. So,
Okay.
but I mean, it is still running good. I do think overall they did a good job in the game. I do wish I don't know if they could. I don't know what that frame of lag that I'm feeling is, but it does feel weird. I don't know if it is actually a
Okay.
frame or if it's something else, but
Gotcha.
there's something
Okay.
there.
Has in terms of like the PC stuff from like Cyberzone and stuff, have you guys had any hangups or any problems with running on the PC setups in terms of like settings or people's controllers or anything like that?
As far as controllers, no, I haven't seen an issue. I think one small issue was that one person had a Switch controller. Easy fix. It was just entering the Steam overlay and flipping a switch. So that was
Okay.
really nice, really easy. I'd say depending on the PCs, it could take a minute to prep. Um, there's a few PCs that I ran into that just had a long load time. So if someone accidentally exit the game has a way to download shaders and save shaders.
Hmm.
Um, so with the PC that we were on, it did take a long time to get shaders started. So that's the only issue I saw. If you prep ahead of time and everyone doesn't close the game, I think it's fine, even on a lower end PC.
Okay. And then what about you, John? Because you just came from Defend the North too. That was sponsored by MSI, so they were running PC setups there too, right?
Yeah. It's it's a double-edged sword. I agree with Maynard in that the game feels a lot better on PC. Uh, it's more responsive. You have more control over individual things like turning VSync off, or um, high refresh monitors are a little bit easier to configure on a PC compared to in a PS5.
Hmm.
And frankly, I do feel like I'm underwater when I'm playing on PS5. But Evo's on PS5, and there's nothing
Yeah.
any of us are gonna do to change that. There's nothing a single local can even do to change that, and so it's a
Yeah.
blessing in a lot of ways to have a local in the gaming zone and having a PS5 tournament. We've got to practice on it if we want to do well at Evo. So while I
Yeah.
would prefer PC, and I intend to play competitively online on PC, the PS5 is more of a thing that we just have to roll with, and a thing that we have to.
Yeah.
It's like learning a matchup in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so at Defend the North, the PC, the downside of PC, I think, happened quite a bit. For the record, like I had a good experience at Defend the North, and I think the laptops were super cool. I didn't have any controller issues. Everybody, like, the laptops were just sitting at, like, closed next to a monitor, and then both players would just plug into two USB ports, and then we'd be off to the races. Except when a player would complain about lag. And the problem with that is that with a PC, with a PS5, you can just be like, well, yeah, it's PS5, it's laggy. That's eat shit. That's gonna happen. But with a PC, you're like, well, it might be this thing we need to configure. Someone needs to open up the video control panel and turn VSync off manually. The USB ports may need to be overclocked or whatever the hell people do with that stuff nowadays. Like, there were numerous instances where, like, they had to bring the staff in to, like, go and tune the PCs again. And so, like, it didn't have an adverse impact on the tournament itself, but the night before, when we were doing the team tournament, that's when a lot of the issues were getting hammered out. Again, I did have a overall positive experience there. It's just that, like, that additional complexity with PC, like, Maynard, you mentioned how easy it was to just, flip a switch from the Nintendo Switch controller, right? You're also an IT specialist, and so it requires a degree of PC computer literacy to be able to support that. And frankly, like I don't see that that skill set often in the gaming community, weirdly enough, in the fighting game community, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
And so like there's more setup in my opinion, but the game does just feel better. Like as a competitor,
Yeah.
hell yeah, PC for forever. And I hope that someday all majors are run on PC. Whether or not that is actually a pipe dream, like there's a lot of different factors at play, even regarding corporate sponsorships and whatnot. I don't know what that future looks like. And so for the time being, as a competitor, I'm just prepping to be able to play on both.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I mean, it because when it comes to PCs, like I mean, from running events, like there's a whole lot of, like you said, setup logistics and all kinds of stuff that you've got to consider when it comes to PCs that are a huge hurdle. Not to say, a lot of people will bring up other scenes like League of Legends and things like that, but I mean, those kind of situations are different, right? Because like when it comes to fighting games, like the big thing with fighting games is like it's for the most part open tournaments, right? So you're gonna have a ton of people all playing on these like PC setups, and like you said, all it takes is one person to be like, "Hey, this doesn't feel right," and the amount of stuff you'd have to go through to kind of fix that versus going on the PS5 and say, "No, this setting's on, this setting's on, this setting's on," it's you. Like, there's nothing else that we can do about this.
Yep.
And then you bring up a good point too about having to adapt to that, because that's something that the FGC had to deal with at Evo in particular with like Marvel and Street Fighter 4
Oh yeah.
when they were playing on because the best version was like the Xbox 360 at the time, and at Evo and at the competitive tournaments they were playing on PS3s. And I remember distinctly, like, my first Evo was 2011 coming down and playing on PS3s. And, like, I didn't do it. I was playing on my 360 with everybody else. And, I'd see my friends who I know were pretty consistent. Obviously it's a big tournament too. Like, there's going to be nerves and stuff there. But my friends that I know were consistent with their execution were dropping things that they normally wouldn't drop. Or you'd see the game slow down in areas that you wouldn't see on the 360. And you're just like, well, that sucks, and that's really unfortunate, but that's what you got to deal with.
Yeah. On the live taping here, we have Crims in our studio audience mentioning that like the diminishing returns in for the PC tuning, like it can get in people's heads. And frankly, like when I entered that TGZ tournament with the 60 people that we were talking about earlier, like I changed my combos because I was like, PS5 sucks. Like in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this and stuff. But if you look at the raw numbers comparing the two versions, like it's a 1 frame difference. That's the average the average difference between PC and PS5. Like PS5 is 1 frame slower. So that thing that I'm feeling, I don't know if I'm actually feeling that or if that's nerves because I'm not sitting at home in my underwear on my computer, and that in turn influences your decision making in a game that's all about mental stack. And frankly, like that's the other reason why I didn't really notice a ton of issues besides the initial stuff at DTN was because I was playing on a big stage and there was a big stream and there was they were projecting there was like a rear projector monitor big screen for the audience that I could see. Like by just looking over the monitor, I could see all that shit and I could hear all that shit behind me, and I'm like, who's to say that's not affecting my play in the same manner? That was like a big lesson I learned from DTN is that like I look pretty badass in some of my online replays when I'm really comfortable, but man, I looked like an idiot when I played on the stage. Even in the matches that I won, I made some really awful decisions because like it's a completely different world playing offline in a major, and I'm sure that's a topic for another day.
Like you said, that's a big thing in terms of like getting into your head. Like, that's something that I think a lot of people deal with. Like, you just have like this notion that something's off, and it's just like, you want to take accountability for not doing well, but at the same time, like, I mean, let's get real. Like, if you look at Twitter or social media or anything, people will find any possible reason other than themselves to not hold themselves accountable for losing, right?
Yeah.
You know, we see it all the time on some of the big players. Oh man, this setup was laggy and blah blah blah. I wasn't the only one complaining, and I'm just like, come on, dude. I was like, just take your loss and, like, you know, move on. And you know, it's real easy to kind of just throw something else out there and just say, oh, it's because we're playing on PS5, blah blah blah. If I was on PC and, like you said, and I was comfortable and I'm sitting in my underwear at home, I would beat you, no problem, right? Let's run this back and let's run a money match or something like that.
Yeah.
We're all just gonna have to be like Punko and take off our shirt as we're on stage, right?
That's actually what I was thinking. I was just like, you just get on stage, you just start stripping, and you're just like, yo, what's going on? And I was just like, hold on, I'm getting comfortable, man. All right. You're just sitting in there in your underwear, just like, yo.
That's
but he's winning all of his matches.
I don't know if anybody, because I didn't tweet about it or anything, but the at DTN, the Saturday pools, was it Friday or Saturday? It was Saturday. It was Saturday pools. The air conditioning was out in the venue. Like, it was not air conditioned. And so
at least they don't live here.
Yeah, but it was humid and hot, and like the guy that I beat to qualify into top 8 or to top 48 rather, to qualify out of my pool, it looked like he was gonna die from heat stroke. Like, he looked like he was gonna pass out, like, while we were playing. And so, like, I watched him make some extremely poor decisions, and I just sat back and punished, because I'm like, I'm not as hot as this guy. Like, I'm not as sweaty. Like, hot or sweat, like, both of those have different connotations nowadays. But like temperature war, like, this guy looked like he was out of a real rough time. And so, like, the major experience is not just about who knows more about the game, who's more skilled at the game. It's about endurance, and it's about who took better care of their body that day, who slept better, who was not dying from heat exhaustion, and who was not freaking out when a bunch of people are cheering for their hometown hero behind you. So yeah, that's my, I'm sure I'll talk more about my DTN experience over the course of several episodes here, but it was fun, and the PC stuff was, again, I would prefer to play on PC, but that's not the reality we live in.
I did have a question about DTN and your experience.
Oh, okay.
I know you fought Mena, and you fought your heart out. It was great to watch, and I was cheering you on. But it sucks that you the way you lost it happened. But on the stream, Yipes and I can't think of his name right now. His co-commentator, Lee Chung. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. They got some football equipment, and they were commentating, and they had some fun replays in terms of, like, player reactions. Unfortunately, you were a victim. It sucks, but with your setup that you were talking about, like, were you experiencing that firsthand? Like, did you see and can you hear them? Because, like, me personally, I am a very emotional player, and if that was to happen and Yipes was to clown on me and I'm seeing that firsthand, I would not recover. I would be down and out. So, were you seeing that firsthand, or, like, I don't know if you?
So they were piping the stream to the projectors, and so, like, in the same way that the three of us are staring at our individual computer monitors right now, if you, like, look a foot up, you could see the entirety of that stream. So I did not I did hear what they said. I heard them, but I didn't comprehend it, because I had just lost that match in a very convincing fashion. So I was busy, like, trying to put myself back together. So I didn't hear them, but I did see, like, that they were freeze framing me and then drawing images and whatnot. And frankly, like that's the other side of, like, trying to get good at these games, is that, like, having the ability to suspend your ego and embarrass yourself in front of 3,500 people on the internet, or however many people were watching. Like, I don't really take any offense, and I think that that's part of the game, and that's part of the mental resilience. That's the reason why I was there, is literally to deal with getting destroyed in front of so many people, and not getting angry about it, not letting it get to me and like hurt my feelings and make me not want to play anymore. Because, like, that's like they weren't trying to bully me, they were trying to put on a show, and I was trying to put on a show, and someone's got to be the butt of the joke at the end of the day. Someone has to lose. Not everybody has to lose as bad as I did. I got fucked up. But that's the other side of being a competitor, I think, is that like in my 20s I would have been so like distraught and angry about it, and like my ego would probably would have been hurt, and I might not have come out of my shell or anything. But nowadays I'm just like, yeah, I got wrecked, and the faster I acknowledge that, the faster I can move past it. And I think that I'm glad I put on a show. I'm glad everybody had a laugh. I'm excited for the next time I can have an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, right? It kind of comes with the territory of being a competitor in the FGC, right? Like this is, like I said, this is open format tournaments. Like you weren't invited there. It's not an invitational. You chose to go there on your own volition and was just like, I want to go to this tournament. I want to put myself in this situation. And if you do as well as you wanted to, which I remember you saying that you wanted to make a top 8 in a major, and you did. Like if you do as well as you did, then that's something that you're going to have to deal with, right? Whether it's I didn't know that there was the whole in-game the in-venue like projector and all that stuff. Like, I kind of got the idea, I got the sense that was going on, based on like how people were reacting, like hearing the crowd laugh and stuff like that. I was like, oh, they're doing this in the venue. But it's also like, you got to deal with that stuff on Twitch chat, right? On the stream chats, right?
Sure,
if you go back and watch the replays, like there were people, there's those of us that are like supporting you, and then like as you get destroyed, there's people saying this and that, and like you just got to be able to deal with that, and just like, what, I'm here in this position, I got to this point, what are you doing, right? Like you're not, you're sitting at home just making fun of me, but it's that's what it is, right? And you just kind of, like you said, you acknowledge it, you kind of just move forward, and you're just like, hey, well, that's your opinion, whatever. Like I did what I wanted.
I mean, it might not have even been their opinion. Like that's the thing, is they're trying to put on a show, and they're trying to entertain those same people that are laughing and stuff. So it's like I can't hold that against anybody involved. And again, at the time when all that stuff was happening, I was thinking more about how to give proper props to my opponent for fucking me up. Like the honorable thing to do, and the good sportsmanship thing to do, is to just smile and take the loss. If I had a temper tantrum about it, or if I got offended or something, like it just wouldn't be constructive, and frankly it would have hurt me for the next match. So there's
like never live it down too. Like it'd be all over Twitter and be like, hey, check out this guy, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? That's a whole another thing, right? At least now, like
yeah, that's the other side of it, is like I have the benefit of hindsight here of seeing how a lot of players in our Arizona scene have reacted to the advances in technology. I've seen someone throw their stick and then go viral over that. I've seen someone get fucked up on stream and like be triple perfected before. And it really is about building out that mental resilience. To get a bit personal here, like I had a goal to make top 8, as Benny mentioned, and the goal was specifically to get it to make top 8 in a major before I got married. And this is I was talking to Jess about this. This is my motorcycle. This is my midlife crisis. Like I want to accomplish something from my youth that I wasn't able to do. And so like I was just happy to be up there, but also like struggling so hard to make sure I kept the competitive mindset, because I didn't want to settle for 5th, even though that's what I ended up getting. But the other side of it is that this dream of mine that I decided to pick up again was born from the pandemic, born from being locked up, having to question a lot of like who I was and what I wanted out of my life, and the social anxiety that got built up over time from not seeing people, and from frankly getting the idea that people were out to fucking kill me. With the pandemic, it's like, hey, there's a deadly disease that's going around, and so people might spread it to you, and you might fucking die. Like that might happen. And so that fear, that social anxiety, that fear of being in a crowd, like I needed to find a way to conquer that, and I needed to go back out into the world, and this was my chance to do that. Like doing something that I love and also getting to ride that motorcycle. Like it feels a lot better now that I happen to have accomplished that, because like frankly I was running out of time. We get married in October. but like it's just it was a chance to really come back from the pandemic, and I really cherish that the memories that I made this weekend, and met so many new people, and they were all so nice. Shout outs to New York, like, because I was not expecting the welcome that I got from them, and the positivity and the the love, frankly, that I got from them, and it meant all the world to me, and that's why I was able to take those losses with a smile.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I asked you in like in one of our group chats. Was just like, hey, like how are they acting? How are they acting towards you as an outsider, right? Because like typically, like when we hold tournaments here, regionals or whatever, undefeated, like the outsiders are just like, oh no, we got to protect the home court, right? Home field, whatever you want to call it. Uh, so to hear you say like, oh no, everybody's been super welcoming, and like it seemed like there was people from Twitter or from that learned or watched some of your Chun-Li stuff that were just like, hey, that's Porta John, that's that guy that was doing this, and that's really awesome to see.
That's something that Mena actually talked with. Like, Mena and I talked right before the match when we were setting up and everything, and he knew of me, and he said that there are people back home in the Dominican Republic that have seen my shit, and they I think he said they're fans, and I was like, I have fans? The fuck? And to hear that from the 2-time Capcom Cup champion, arguably the best player in Street Fighter V, and arguably one of the best players in fighting game history, to accomplish that at the height of that competition, that level of competition, like to see how humble that man is, to see what a good role model to kids he is. That's something that I think is really understated. Is I think he's a really solid role model for kids, and that's frankly, like, that's something that I think was lacking in the fighting game community, to put it bluntly. I only have kind things to say about Mena. He was a stand-up dude, and kind things to say about everybody from the DR that I met. People from Brooklyn that are Dominican, they welcomed me with open arms. They ran sets with me. They didn't treat me like an invader. They treated me like a friend, and I in turn got to cheer for them in their pools, even though I'd met them like the day before. And it was the FGC that I missed during the pandemic. It was the FGC that was not Twitter, not all the bullshit on Twitter. It was kind people coming together over a shared love of something, and man, that's magical. I highly recommend going out to any kind of major, to any go to Evo, or go to Combo Breaker, go to the grassroots majors too, because you're gonna get the real FGC.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, we haven't had him on our show yet. I kind of want to get him on, but
Men RD?
No, not him. No, I was talking about Luminaire, Mike. So for some people, they don't know, but Mike went to the Dominican Republic for, I forgot, it was for work, right? I think it was for like training for work. Like, he had to be there for a while because he was doing some like baseball stuff, and baseball's big in the Dominican Republic. So he was there, and he got ingrained in their scene, and like he's always had really great things to talk about with them. And he was just like, hey, they took me in. They were just like, helped him learn. Like, I'm sure he was getting his ass kicked a lot over there because they're good players. So it's just like, but he was like, yeah, they were super welcoming to me, and he's always had great things to say about them. So I've always had this impression that they're just a super welcoming group of people and scene that they have down there that's been cultivated with Mena's rise.
I agree. It's a lot about fostering a welcoming community. Like, we can still have rivalries, we can still shit talk, but like, the idea of everybody kind of being in it together, particularly after the last couple of years, I feel like again I think Maynard, you are exemplary of that. Like, you're like, when the game came out, like, I was really worried about what was going to happen, because our scene was dead. Our scene, I had tried to like keep Street Fighter V alive, and Frank, shout outs to everybody who played 5 with me during the pandemic years, or the 2022-ish era. But like, realistically, we were getting like 6 people a tournament, 8 people a tournament, and so I was really worried about, like, we have this sudden influx of players, what's going to happen? And people like Tim, or like Steve, or Maynard, again, you guys were there being the welcoming party to this new generation of players, and to all the people coming back. And it's I can't thank you enough. Like, our scene's alive again. and it feels alive, and it frankly it gives me fuel to go out of state and represent and try to show the world what Arizona has taught me and how to play fighting games.
Yeah, and shout outs to Nitro Frost, by the way. He's the one that ran the bracket very recently in the monthly, and that went very smooth. It was real nice to see him again. Last time I'd seen him was like Ranbats in like 2015, and I'm glad that he's back out and he's helping out with the scene too.
Oh, no, actually, you saw him at my birthday dinner.
Oh, I mean, yes. Tournament wise.
We also saw we saw him at your daughter's graduation thing too. So we've been seeing Steve a lot lately. It's been kind of cool, actually.
I mean, speaking about work again, he's actually my current coworker.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm telling you, Maynard does work. That's the title of the TheXButton does work.
Literally. We got to do like what's that old thing? 6 degrees of separation. Like, how do you know Maynard? I was like, well, actually, I used to work with him here, and then.
Yep. Everybody used to work with Maynard at some point.
Well, yeah, actually, we worked at 2 jobs because we were both at GoDaddy, and then we moved over to Ring, which is owned by Amazon now, like the Ring doorbells, and we were both working there for a time. So we worked at 2 jobs together.
That's the other side of it too, is I feel like networking in the community has just been, it changes people's lives. Like getting a job through somebody like getting a new job changes your life. And in the same way that, like, I learned that very recently. I think that and a lot of top players in Arizona have kind of all exhibited this trait, but being able to network with people out of state allows you to build new friendships and then also practice together in ways that you can't do locally. Like I mentioned that the guys from Brooklyn, they welcomed me with open arms, and it's because I was talking with them regularly, trading tech on Chun-Li specifically. So shout outs to Kiko Master and the Chunder Cats, because he rolled out the red carpet for me, so to speak. Now, to be clear though, like, he put me on a setup and then threw all of his boys at me to try to kick my ass. But I held my own. I held my own. But like, man, being able to just meet somebody for the first time in person and then cheering your heart out for them, I don't know. That's just, there's something there. Like, it's a very unique thing to the online world nowadays. But I hope everybody has a chance to go out to an offline major and meet some of the people behind the gamer tags.
Yeah, that's always been a fun experience for me, especially like I said, I haven't been to Evo. I was really hoping to make Evo this year. Just there's a lot of unexpected things that happened during the first half of this year, kind of ate up a lot of my time off, and there's other things I want to do the rest of this year. So unfortunately I can't go, but like for me, it was always a much bigger thing, because I know with a lot of the changes and the growth of Evo, people are like, oh, it's not the same, it's not this. And like it was never about that kind of stuff for me. And like, the growth into like this convention that it's basically become is like, that's nothing to me. Like, I was going there to see like my friends in Alaska that I played, that I started in the FGC with, and it was to go spend time with them for the weekend, right, and play games. And I always made this thing about in recent years, or the last few years that I was there, like I would make a spreadsheet and I'd be like, hey, what games are you guys playing? Or I'd look it up myself, right? If I knew, I know their tags, I'd look up their games, look up their pool times, and I organized everything by like times and dates, and where they were playing and the station numbers. And it was just like, and then I'd print out a bunch of those copies, and we'd meet up, and I'd be like, here's a copy of this, or screenshot this, for the day, so and like, so 10 o'clock rolls around, oh, I'm gonna go watch so and so at this station, I'm gonna go watch this game. 12 o'clock rolls around, oh, are you still in? Oh no, I'm not in. Hey, let's go watch so and so, he's at this station. And like, it was all about that. And then like the other big thing was like me not being in Alaska for all that time. Like there was people that were joining their scene, so I would meet new people and I'd be like, oh, this is so and so, like he joined our scene 3 years ago. Like, I'd be the first time I met that person, and I'd be like, okay, well, he's one of us now, so I'll go cheer this guy on and play games or play casuals with each other, that kind of thing. So that's one of the big things I missed about not going to EO. I'm definitely gonna try to go next year. So I'm interested to hear like when you guys get back, like how things are this year, especially with 6 and what 7,000 competitors.
That's such a big number.
What do you think? What do you think, Maynard? Are you gonna make it out of your pool?
I want to. It's the
Yeah.
dream right now. That's my personal goal. Make it out of a large size pool like that. Of course, I would like to make it further, but I mean that's my first step at the least.
Yeah. Well, they haven't released any brackets or anything yet, right? So we don't know about the exact like formats, right? Because people have been speculating about whether it's going to be like a 128 man pool and 2 people get out, 3 people get out. Like we don't know yet. So I mean that's still to come.
Yeah, and I mean speaking about that whole spreadsheet, once again talking about Spiral Series Discord, I am planning on trying to get everyone's information pool stuff. So I'll try to make it easily accessible. So if you are planning on going to Evo and you're not in the server yet, come join because we want to cheer you on. We want to support you. If I can, I'll try to record it. But
I would try to. I would suggest from personal experience, probably try to do like a Google form and then like have that export into a spreadsheet because I was doing all that shit manually. Or I would like post on Facebook and like, hey, let me know what games you're playing and what pools and what time, and then I'd be like going back to the spreadsheet and like manually putting that in. So if you do a Google form and just like export it, that'd probably be a hell of a lot easier.
Good idea. Good idea.
Very cool. Well, we're almost out of time here. We have gotta get going pretty soon. Do you have any shout outs, TheXButton?
I want to shout out to Tony Wynn. He was one of the first people that also joined with me in the Arizona Street Fighter scene. He's currently playing with us in Street Fighter 6, so shout out to him and being my training partner. Shout outs to Dragon Ninja for helping me getting into DOA and make me learn and love fighting games back in 2017. To Ha, Kidney, roommates that also keep me in check for fighting games and help me keep training and getting better. Very close friends, and I love them all. They're all great. I can also shout out my stuff too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just making sure. I stream on twitch.tv/TheXButton. It's kind of going slow because I'm really busy with the bootcamp, but I do want to get back into it. I did an hour last night on ranked mode, so I'd like to keep playing. So feel free to come by if you have Marissa questions or anything about the scene. I'll be glad to help you guys out there too. Other than that, play DOA, play Virtua Fighter, play Street Fighter 6. All great games. Love them all.
Nice.
And Tony Wynn, you owe me Chino Bandito. You told me if I made top 8, I would get a Chino Bandito from you. So I'm really excited for that.
Receipts.
I'll make sure he pays up.
Cool. Well, you can find us on twitch.tv or Twitch at twitch.tv/Spiral Series, YouTube at youtube.com/Spiral Series, and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify under Absolute Guard. To all of you watching and listening, thank you very, very much for tuning in, and comment on anywhere because I want to know what you think about the set between Grandmaster B and TheXButton and what you think the score will be. I'm going to totally just ham this up. We'll do the fight. I watched Creed 3 on the plane ride home, and so I was like, he plays a fight promoter in that one, and I'm like, we're going there. I want to see what happens. Thanks, guys, and have a good night.